Supergirl does not deserve the level of hatred and vitriol it's receiving online. This is Witch Atlas, and welcome to another video. There will be spoilers, so please be warned. I've seen Supergirl twice now, and no, it's obviously not a perfect movie, and even I, as someone who loved it, had some things that I wish the movie did better, and we're gonna talk about that too. But really? Really, Variety reviewer? A horrendous movie with the worst script you can remember? Really? Oh, but this is the same writer who hated Project Hail Mary. And what? He loved the Adam Sandler golf movie? Oh. Well, it makes sense. See, now you really have to be capable of making your own opinions and thinking for yourself, because all sorts of people have platforms these days, even me. Just smile politely, y'all. We're witnessing mental illness. We're gonna get into it, you guys. I'll be starting with the things that I wish the movie did better, you know, get that out of the way. Then talk about the things that I loved, and then talk also a little bit about the overblown negative response that the movie's getting. Supergirl is nowhere near the clusterfuck dog shit that the internet would have you believe. And yes, we have to acknowledge it is 2026. Superhero movies are just not very cool right now. There is a considerable level of exhaustion that audiences are experiencing with the genre. We're just a lot more skeptical and critical of them now. Whereas a movie like Thor: The Dark World could make $600 million in 2013, a movie that mediocre would get torn to shreds and bomb at the box office today. And admittedly, no, Supergirl isn't really offering something groundbreaking, but to that I have two counterpoints. It's that, one, I don't think movies or media in general, I don't think they have to be groundbreaking to exist. I don't think every film or song or book has to be new and has to reinvent the wheel. I don't think so. I think they can just be good, and I think they can just exist, and this is that movie. It's not reinventing anything, but it is good. And two, Supergirl isn't really offering something groundbreaking to general audiences. It's not offering something groundbreaking to general audiences, I guess, because to me, as a homosexual, anything a woman does is groundbreaking. Ugh, let's get into it. The plot, very quickly. Supergirl is about Kara Zor-el, who is Superman's cousin. Supergirl grew up in Krypton, and as such, she is still grieving. She had a life there, and all of that got taken away. So now she's partying, drinking, her way of dealing with all the pain she's feeling. Then her dog gets shot with poison. Oh no, crypto. So she has to go on an adventure to find the cure. Hilarity ensues. I really like the premise of this film, especially with the themes it chooses to highlight. A lot of it is about a woman dealing with loss and her grief. There's this moment where Kara flies up to space and she just screams, and it's in space, so it's completely soundless, and she's just screaming, and I thought that was so powerful. I loved that so much. It really got to me. A lot of it also, especially in the third act, just has Kara expressing her rage, like when she's punching and blasting through everyone in the third act fight. She's just angry and full of rage, and I really liked that. It was really just nice to see somebody fuck shit up, to see a woman fuck shit up. But more of that later. As I said, I'm gonna start with a bad. Let's get these negative points out of the way. You know I love this movie.
I love this coffee.
I loved this movie. It just personally resonated with me. There was something, I was the audience, you know what I mean? But that said, there were some baffling choices made here. Adaptation in quotation marks. I do think it was a terrible decision to adapt Woman of Tomorrow. Emphasis on the quotation marks for adapt. Because theoretically, yes, amen. Adapting one of the most beloved and acclaimed comic books in recent history, that is an obvious but a wise decision. However, I have to say the execution of that adaptation was really weird. To adapt a comic book, one of the most iconic and beloved traits of which is its visuals, and then to completely abandon those visuals makes no sense. Well, what? Help me get it. The director of the film, Craig Gillespie, did an interview where he said,
I very deliberately didn't look at Tom King's book when I first got the script. Right. I went off of Anna's script.
He did eventually look at the comic book and took visuals from there, he said, but what a weird choice. You know, what? Again, the visual aesthetic is one of the most beloved aspects of the comic book. This was a bad choice, especially because the visuals they did choose to have in the film were not that spectacular. That's another thing I wish the movie did better, the visuals. I was very optimistic and very hopeful going into this. When I first saw the trailers, I really did was like, I felt that it looked like a generic space movie, and I did not want that for my girl. But I was hopeful and was like, I hope the visuals pull through, and they did not. The movie looked so generic, and I say that as someone who really loved it.
I love your product.
You had all of these wonderful physical sets, but sadly, they were all lit and shot really dull. All of this great production design is like going to waste because the audience just can't see it that well. At one point I thought, why does this bar from this one planet look exactly and feel exactly like the bar in another planet? They should not look the same. You know, I don't know. I'm not a production designer. What the fuck do I know? By the way, if you're still enjoying this video, please leave a like or a comment. I'm a small, petite Twinkie channel, and I would like to, that would help out a lot. I wrote this at 3 a.m. Oh my god, that would help out a lot. Thank you. Next up is the action. There were a lot of fights in this movie, but a lot of them just did not feel good. And I'm not sure if this was the choreography or just the way it was shot, but it all just really felt by the numbers, you know, and not even by the numbers, below the numbers. Is that a thing? They were just, to me, some of the dullest moments in the film. The action scenes, the fight scenes, which for an action movie, to have your action scenes be the dullest parts, yikes. I really wish these fights were better because Millie Alcock was delivering. I could feel her rage-filled performance, you know? I could feel her anger with her punch. She was performing the fuck out of that role, but the camera work failed her. I wanted to see a woman fuck shit up, and the woman was there, she was fucking shit up, but the cameraman wasn't. Where the fuck was he? What was he doing? Because I'm gonna calm down. Next up, the villain. This is a hot thing on the internet right now. I don't think it matters if a villain is forgettable or has very little character. I don't care. I know everybody's saying that the villain sucks, and yes, he's unremarkable. He's just there, you know? But this wasn't a story about him. This was a story about a woman and a little girl dealing with big emotions after big tragedies. This was not a story primarily about a hero versus a bad guy. You know, it wasn't like a good versus evil story where you have to develop both sides. Superman is a movie that chose to tell a story focusing on Lex Luthor versus Superman. So of course, Lex Luthor had to be well written. Harry Potter is like good versus, I hate referencing Harry Potter, but it's like good versus evil. Harry versus Voldemort. And so we have to develop the fuck out of Voldemort too. But Titanic is a movie about Jack and Rose. We don't have to develop the fucking iceberg. He just needs to hit the ship because it's about Jack and Rose. In that same way, Supergirl is about two people trying to process tragedies that they've just lived through. It's about Kara and it's about Ruthie and like trying to deal with like terrible shit that's just happened to them. Krem doesn't need to be more fleshed out than he is. And you know, it's valid to want him to be more fleshed out, and it's valid if that's the kind of movie you wanted, but this was not that movie. This movie was not about him. He just needs to challenge Supergirl in a way that pushes her to her limits and functions for her development, and that's it. That is it. Again, if you're the kind of person that prefers movies with interesting villains, yes, good. That is fine. What I'm trying to tell you is this is not that movie. If you like chocolate, this is mango. As I've been saying, this movie is not perfect, and the criticism is deserved, but certainly not to the degree that it's been blown up online. There's definitely people who are validly expressing their disappointment and is raising good points about the movie, but then there's also just the clout-chasing, bad faith culture warriors pushing their anti-women agenda, and I think that's so unfair, and it's again really exhausting. You know, it's so exhausting, and I'm sure it's even more exhausting for women themselves. Moving on to the good, finally, I loved this movie.
I love this coffee.
This was for me. And I'm not saying that other people can't enjoy it, because it is an enjoyable film, and I think a lot of people can enjoy it, but this was very for me. You know what I mean? Like, the concert is for everybody, but the artist at one point is like pointing at me during a song. And you know, for people like me, who grew up watching the Resident Evils, the Underworlds, the Charlize Theron action suite, Charlize Africa, sure, a lot of those movies suck in an objective way, because you know, they were just cash grabs and there were action sequences but not a lot of character, but I love them. But then to have something like Supergirl which is just has emphasis on character and themes. I'm glad and I'm so grateful. And you know, it's not the first one. It's an addition to this modern trend of amazing superhero slash action material with female leads. It's another solid entry. I'm just sad that it's getting the really terrible reception that it's getting, because I would really like more. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, right? The good. First off, Millie motherfucking what am I, 5? Millie Alcock, Supergirl herself, diva, did not expect how much I would like her. That's the thing. I knew and I expected she would do good. I had high expectations and I knew she would meet them. But they were surpassed. They were definitely surpassed. She did not just deliver. She got into my house and she cleaned after she brought the food. There's this scene that I found so funny where she's like pretending to be like a valley girl. She was at the bar and like trying to distract Lobo. It was so funny. She was so charming and it's so hilarious. But Millie really shines with delivering the complicated heaviness that Supergirl is going through in this movie. The action was meh. The cinematography for the action was meh. The visuals were meh, but what really made me love it is the story and the themes and Kara herself, both the actress and the arc that she goes through. Millie Alcock's portrayal of her, she does the party girl, numb, couch potato Kara so well. And then in the vulnerable moments, she just breaks your heart. And again, she looks so cool when she's kicking butt. She looks amazing when she's kicking butt, which is why it's a shame that the action was meh, because you have this performer that's really just delivering. She looks so cool being angry and hitting people. Kara's story is equal parts heartbreaking and inspiring, and it did really resonate with me. She essentially lost her life. Krypton was her home. She had her people there, her dreams were there. She probably imagined she would grow old there with those people, and all of that is gone now. And I totally relate to how she's handling all of this. Sometimes when bad things happen to you, you have to enter a period of not doing anything. And you need that time, you know? You need that time. The worst thing that could happen to her happened to her. And she's just trying to feel comfortable away from all of that grief and all of that loss. It's so rare for Hollywood action films to show heroic women in leading roles dealing with grief and loss like this. You know, in action films, in drama, we have a lot of that, and it's great, and I love that in drama, but this is action, in this genre, specifically the superhero genre, and to show a grieving, heroic woman like this, you know, the only other one I can think of is Wanda. They made her a villain. I appreciate, really, that Kara's actually good and kind-hearted. When Ruthie's sword got stolen, even though she was drunk and she wasn't at full power, she went out of her way to go get that sword back to Ruthie. She actually has a good heart, and that's most people, I want to believe. I think most people have good hearts and have kind natures, but they're just going through shit. I liked Kara's arc. I thought this movie had a great actress for Supergirl and a great arc for her to go through. I really liked that. Story and themes. This movie was about two people processing the worst things that ever happened to them. Kara losing Krypton and Ruthie losing her family. And both of them doing really reckless, dangerous things to try and cope. Kara deactivating her powers in dangerous planets and getting drunk and partying. And then Ruthie going on this journey to try and kill Krem. And it's like, you are so small and a child. You will get killed, baby girl. Calm down. So themes like grief, loss, revenge, and moving forward in honor of those that you've lost, they're big in this movie, and I really appreciate that. Kara is very protective of Ruthie, not wanting her to kill Krem because she's a kid. And as a kid, she doesn't need that following her around, which to a degree, I can see the point the movie's trying to say. Ruthie is a kid, and I agree with the movie. I don't think a kid should have to deal with a baggage of like killing somebody. But also, I don't think a kid should have to deal with a baggage of having their whole family killed, you know? So, but this is maybe controversial. Some people deserve revenge. Some people deserve revenge. I think a lot of the times in real life, bad people really flourish because of this culture of good people taking the high road. Bad people need to experience consequences. And the movie does kind of address that. Krem kills two people and Ruthie was like, they're dead because of you. They're dead because you stopped me from killing him. So I'm really glad that in the end, Kara killed Krem. I'm really glad for that. A kid shouldn't have to kill someone. You know, Ruthie, a kid shouldn't have to be swallowed by revenge. But that said, also, Krem just needs to die. And Supergirl isn't Superman, you know? She's willing to sacrifice that part of herself, and she's willing to fuck you up to stop you from causing further damage and causing more harm. She is what you find out when you fuck around. There was also a part of her, she says in the end, that's for my dog. So she kills Krem in part as revenge for doing what he did to Crypto. And I really like that. I think it makes her more complex, you know, to be like telling somebody else to not get swallowed by revenge, but then I'll do it. I'll get a little bit of revenge. Kara's relationship for Crypto, I really liked. It wasn't just a girl. It was, yes, a girl and her dog, but it was, you know, that was the last piece of her home. That was the last piece of Krypton, and she was just holding on to that. I found Kara and Bruthy's emotional turning points also really inspiring. The message of moving forward to go on and live as a way to honor those you've lost. I thought that that was really inspiring, and it was something I really needed to hear. Kara goes back to Earth at the end of the movie to like fully ready to give Clark and to give Earth and superheroing a chance. What a journey. Wow. Women. The discourse. The climate for superhero films is different now than it was pre-COVID. If mediocre and frankly sometimes terrible superhero MCU films back then could be well received out of goodwill and make bank, not today. And I don't think Supergirl is a terrible film, but being okay to just being good just isn't enough. It's just not enough for audiences these days, especially for a superhero film. People want to be blown away, and they're not wrong for that. I do really think that above all, the visuals really hurt this movie because how could you sell that? I know that's so mean. That is so mean. Cruella was so visually striking, so I don't know what happened here. Also, a very loud group of people online want to see this movie fail, and they want to see James Gunn fail and anything involving women fail. And again, they are loud. This movie, again, deserves the criticism. There's some things here that need to be criticized, but so much of the discussion about it is just so outside of those points. Sexist, conservative, whining assholes. Not everyone, but most of the really loud voices online are just right-wingers, mad that a woman is existing in a way that isn't catering to their sex fantasies, which is like, why are you so mad that a woman who is in active combat most of the time, you know, is wearing shorts under her skirt? What is wrong with you? Why are you mad at that? It is so exhausting to hear those people. It is so odd to me as a gay man. Why are we, as gay men, just bigger lovers of women than straight men are? Everything that has a woman at the forefront, with the gays, we're like loving it. Yes, queen. We love to see it. But then why are the straight men mad? Not all, obviously, but why are these really loud straight men online, why are they mad that a woman is in a movie, leading a movie? I thought I was gay. I thought I was the gay one. Why are you the one who was demanding to just see men exclusively on your screens? The volume of female-led action movies that we're getting isn't even equality. Like, out of the dozens of action movies that come out every year, less than half of them are female-led. It really is just sad with what happened to the Marvels and Furiosa. And now this, you know, it'll be harder and harder for Hollywood to greenlight big budget female-led action movies, and that makes me sad. Makes me really, really sad. In other news, you know, Devil Wears Prada 2 did make a lot of money this year, so I am happy, at least, that women-focused films in general will still continue to get made. Barbie did great, Devil Wears Prada did great, Wicked was doing great. You know, there will still be women-led films, just not action, I guess. And, you know, I love this movie, and I wish we lived in a normal society that had a grip on like reality. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. That would really help. You know, I don't have a team. This is all me, and I'm tiny. That's it for me. I'm out.